Today we're going to set up a Go scripting CLI in a Vite React site to speed up development. And this how-to would be for you if you are new to Go and want to get up to speed with Go as a scripting language, and a pragmatic way to use it in your projects for CLI commands. And particularly if you are a front-end developer and want to make these kinds of commands like are in Angular, where you type a command and it automatically makes a component for you, that kind of thing. What we're going to build is basically what you see here. Let's look at it a little bit. What's going on? We have a React site that shows flashcards, interactive, and we're going to make it so that you can type in a text file, very simple flashcards, just category, front, back, etc. And you run a CLI command, which runs a Go script, and it converts this into a JSON file, creating a unique SUUID, etc. And then it automatically updates the front end, and yeah, that's all very nice. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And this is described here a bit more if you want to read that. The code is here. Let's see if it works. Datapod for React Go JSON, exactly. This is actually just the beginning of a much larger Datapod project that I call it, which will have many more commands and that kind of thing. So if you're watching this in the future and you come here and it has a lot more, don't be surprised, but the basic code is there. Video will be posted here when it's finished. And yeah, that brings us to step one. So let's go, as they say. You need to install Go. I've done this on Linux, Mac, and Windows, and it's very straightforward on all operating machines. So good luck with that. If you have any questions, then ask your friendly LLM. So we're going to create a Vite React site by using this template here. If you click, and what we see here is another Datapod site, Datapod for React JSON. This is just basically the same site, but it just runs on this JSON file, and there's no scripting yet. Yeah, so you change the JSON file, and you see that it changes the site. So we're going to start with this, so everything is set up for you. Also, really, if you're into React or learning React, this is a nice little template to start with. It has React Router already installed. You already have a menu. It uses a kind of simplified version of Redux called Easy Peasy Redux for state management. Very interesting for pretty much any size project. Has thunks, that kind of thing. I use Zod, so take a look at that. Tailwind is installed, and it's responsive. So let's start with that. Yeah, actually, that is actually the step. So I'll click this again, and what we will do is use this template right up here and create a new repository. And let's call it something. What is this? Flashcards. And then let me just give it some kind of number to make it unique. And that'll be fine. Create the repository. So this creates a repository based on that template. That's also a very nice little tip in GitHub. If you want to do this for your repositories, go to settings and just click here on template repository, and then other people can use it as a template. That button will appear there. So now that we have flashcards, that's our site now that we want to work on. We're going to clone it. Oh, and then the other thing is I'm going to be using the Trae editor, It is basically Visual Studio Code for with AI and free. So like Cursor, but free. So go ahead and install that if you don't have it. Trae editor. Ship faster with Trae. Yeah. Currently Windows and Mac only, I believe. But coming soon to Linux. Anyway, let's do that. If you are using Cursor or Visual Studio Code, everything will be basically the same. These are all very similar. So what do I need to do now? I need to go to my Explorer and I need to go to some directory here. Let's just go to temp maybe. And then I'm going to go to a bash command with my hyper terminal in Windows. And we can start this by saying git clone, and it should type here soon. And then pasting in my URL for my repository. And yeah, let's roll it. So instead of typing code for Visual Studio Code, I type Trae and flashcards and it opens up for us. Very nice. So we just need to install the npm packages. npm. One thing you have to notice with Trae is that it, especially on Windows or maybe only on Windows, it starts as WSL extension so just know that that has to be running. Don't close it, otherwise your artificial intelligence panel won't work here. So npm e to install the node modules. And then we're going to npm run it. npm npm run dev, sorry. Here you can, let's go ahead and take a look at our package JSON, and we see that we have a dev. It just starts Vite. I make for all of my sites just npm run dev, so I know how to start them all. That's just my convention. So here we have it running at 3222, probably. I think it's actually 3221, but it saw that there's something else running there. It doesn't matter as long as it's running. So yeah, it should work. As you see, it's interactive, and this here counts how many times you've opened and closed this. That's because I'm basically demonstrating easy peasy Redux. If you're interested in that, go to source, store, and everything is here in the store. So you have your store, main model, flashcard model. Hooks is just boilerplate. Here your model, your flashcard model, and yeah, you have state, actions, and thunks, and yeah, recommended, but not the topic of this how to. We just want to have the site running, which it is. Very nice. And yeah, how to find your shell, just so you know what's going on. This runs on the data here. How to find your shell, 333. I go back here and voila, it says 333. So you see that it's coming from this data. And as I showed earlier, the goal of this how-to is that we create a TXT file, which will be then parsed with Go into this JSON file with a CLI command. So let us do it. I need to get back to our how-to. So we've done this. Create a Vite React site by creating a repo. Yeah, We did it. In root, create scripts directory. So yeah, now we're going to basically create 2 npm scripts, each that run a test Go script. So we have a lot to set up here. Basically, this is going to show you how to do a minimal setup of Go so that you can run scripts, which, yeah. One quick note about the Go language. I've been using it for 6 months now, and it's a very pragmatic language, very simple. In some ways, very simple, very easy to get going with. It's doesn't have the characteristic of JavaScript where there's 5 or 6 ways to do everything. There's basically one way to do everything in Go, and everybody does it that way, so it's not a creative language, it's a pragmatic language. And if you just want to get things done and know that you're programming the same way that everybody else is programming in Go, which is nice when you work in teams or when you adopt a project or something. Yeah, I like it. So let's do Go. In root create scripts directory, let's do that. So I go to my Trae here, and as you see, Trae is much like Visual Studio Code, looks a little different, but generally the same. So new folder, scripts, that's where our Go is going to live. Note that this isn't called backend because it's not a API. We're not building an API. We're building a CLI. So that's finished. In the bash shell, go into the scripts directory. Let's go ahead and do that. So we are now here in bash. This is running our site, so I'll just keep it like that. This is running our artificial intelligence. We'll just keep it like that. So I'm going to open up a new bash shell here, and we're going to go into our scripts. Bam, there we are in our scripts. All right. And here's what we want to do. Go mod init github.com Edward Tangway. That's what I'm going to type. And then datapod for React Go JSON. This is your project name. So change this to your GitHub login or ID. Basically, this should be your GitHub account. This just makes your Go namespace unique. And this should be the name of your project. So we're going to change that as well. Change this to the GitHub name in your control, yes, and the name of your project. All right, so this will create a Go mod file, which is what we need. All right, so let's do that. In fact, I'm going to pull this down here and move this up here, move this up here, and go like this. And I'm going to close. I don't think we're going to be using our AI here, but by the way, the AI in Trae, this is the chat. You just ask it things. You can choose your model here, and you can have it build things as well. Yeah, try it out. It's super. But I'm going to close this for now. Control-Alt-B. There we go. And now, here we go. So, go mod init GitHub. I'm doing Edward Tangway. You type your name or your GitHub account name. And then, what did I call this? Flashcards 342. So I'll call this also Flashcards 342. And this will basically set up an area for us to do our Go things in. Voila. And I am in the scripts directory. Yeah, enter. All right. What do we see in our scripts directory now? A Go mod file, which is what we need. Super. Now create these directories and files. So inside scripts, we're going to have all of our commands. So create page and parse data are two commands that we could create, two CLI commands. And then the idea is, and this is actually what I'm going to do with this project, is make maybe 12, 20, 30 commands here. And it's going to be a framework called Datapod, and it'll be able to create pages and components and all kinds of things. So all of your commands go here. Yeah, and that's it. So that's what we need to create. Let's go ahead and do that. I will keep this. By the way, this is black, and it's kind of hard to see. So if you install, what I want to do is change the color of this so that we can see that this is open here on top of my browser. A little tip called Peacock. If you install Peacock in as an extension, and extensions are the exact same thing in Trae as they are in VSCode. So just type here Peacock like that, and you'll find Peacock. I have it installed. It's this here, Peacock, and it allows you to give colors to your Visual Studio Code or your Trae or your cursor editors. And as you see here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 projects open, and I can go to them very quickly. If they were all black, it would drive me nuts. So that's all very nice. Now I have to find where I was. Peacock, yes. Okay, and the way you do that now, after Peacock is installed, I press F1, the F1 key, and then if you don't have these here, type Peacock. Peacock. Exactly. And then you can do all these. Basically what you want is enter a color. And for Trae, it doesn't change the color of the, unfortunately, the foreground script, so you have to change it to a dark color. So let's say, I don't know, brown. Yeah, and brown really isn't that dark. It's kind of, brown is kind of red, isn't it? Isn't that strange? But what you can do is F1 and then darken, F1, darken, F1, darken. Now it's dark. Yeah, super. All right. So what do we need to do? We need to create a command folder in scripts. Command. Bam. And we will create create page. That's also a folder. Create page. Actually, I'm going to, here's a little trick. If you don't know it yet, create file and just type create page / main go, and then it'll create the directory and the file all at once. Isn't that nice? So Go already has a problem. It's saying that you need to type in some content, I guess. Yes. That's what we'll do later. But right now we want to create another command just to get these going. So new file, even though I'm creating a directory as well, parse data / main.go. Again, we have two commands. So just to explain here, create page, we're going to just basically keep that as print out a line. But we will program parse data. I just wanted to show how to make multiple commands here. All right, so that's the next step. And so now we need to make, these will just be test printouts for each command. Let's do it. I'm going to type these just so that we can get the feel of Go a little bit, because I assume you're new to Go if you're taking this how-to. How can I grab this on? There we go. Okay, kind of difficult because there's nowhere to grab it. So package main. So basically everything, yeah, Go starts with main and you're in a package main. That's basically that. Import format, we can wait on that because that will be taken care of automatically. All of this that pops up, this comes from Trae, and it's just sometimes it's uncanny that it can kind of read your mind, but that's exactly what I want, so I'm going to press, but that's not what I want, for instance. Funny. Okay, and then to print, basically console log is format dot And format, I think I can do tab here. Yeah. But it doesn't install it. If it doesn't install it, do a quick fix and add import FMT. Yeah. And then this will create a new page in the app. Yes. Let's do that. This will create a new page in the app. That's it. All right. And what's the problem? Yeah, this file doesn't have a problem anymore because we have content. This file has a problem because it doesn't have content yet. So what I'm going to do is just copy all this with my VI editor and paste it. And yeah, we want to say this will parse data in a text file into a JSON file. This will parse data into a JSON file. That. Yeah, and there we have it. Super. 2 Go scripts. So we could run these Go scripts from the command line, but then you have to make sure you're in the right directory and da-da-da. The easiest way, if you're in a website, is to simply use npm scripting. So we're going to go to the package JSON, and we're going to go to scripts, and we're going to make these scripts. So let's make this one a comma here. CP is going to be create page, and what that's going to execute is change to the scripts directory. These npm scripts start in the root directory, so change to scripts command create page, and then go run main go, yeah, or just run what's in the directory with a dot. That's all you need. Let's test that one out first, see if it works. So we are here in scripts. Yeah, we can run it in scripts, or usually you're in root, right? So let's say we're in root and we say npm run cp. Oops, not dp, but cp. And it's going to run this. It's going to go to create page and go to main.go, or be inside here, and then just go run dot, which will run the main.go, because main is where you always start in Go. And it's going to print out this. That's what we should see. Enter. And we see our first Go script in action. Yeah, and there you have it. You're executing Go with a command. Very nice. So let's do the second one. Gosh. All right. Just be careful of that. Knock my headphones off. Okay, so here we go. I can, by the way, I'm using the VI editor. I can highly recommend it. VI editor or Vim editor, just as a note here, Vim editor is from the 70s. You'll have to look it up if you don't know about it. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to use. It's basically enables you to not use a mouse. But if you do want to use it, and you're wondering how I'm moving around so fast and deleting stuff, look up Vim, learn how to use it, and then install the Vim extension, and then you can use Vim in Trae or Cursor or Visual Studio Code. Yeah. And so I created this, and now we will go into not create page, but parse data, and go run. Yeah, that's all. So this is pd parse data, npm run pd, and there we have it. All right, so we have two Go commands. I would say that we have completed step 1. Super. So we'll get step 2 here, and we will do a commit, which is set up Go commands. Enter, tab, enter. Very easy here in Trae, just like in Cursor in VSCode. All right. Super. So now what we want to do is continue on, and that means start React site and create the text flashcard file. So we already did this, npm run dev, and we saw that it works. You can see it here again. Here. Exactly. So it's working. So we want to create the flashcard file. So these are the flashcards that we're going to have. These flashcards, the old flashcards are tech flashcards. New flashcards are going to be Italian, Spanish, and then flashcards. So let's just copy this text and create data flashcards. So the problem is here that we already have data flashcards JSON. Yeah, we can keep it basically in there if we want. It really doesn't matter. However you want to do it. I guess I'll just create a file, flashcards, text, and paste that in there. Very good. So we probably want this to be like that. And there we have it. And we will now program the parse data script so that it parses this text into the flashcard objects. And so now we're going to get into a little Go. Basically, yeah. If you know JavaScript, TypeScript, or really any other language with for loops and that kind of thing, Go will be here. Let's take a look at some of this Go scripting that we have here. This is Go. Go will be very familiar. It's just a different syntax, and yeah, I think anyone who's learning computer languages after 2023 really can benefit from the LLMs that help you learn languages. This is particularly useful for Go. You can basically ask ChatGPT or your favorite LLM to make any function, and it should do that 100%, and you just basically learn from there. Because at least the basics of Go, for loops, and okay, this is kind of like a class. It's called a struct, but you know, this is how we make the JSON file, and yeah, you basically just have to ask an LLM to do it, and you can get, you know, let's say in a couple weeks, yeah, up to speed and Go. So let's just basically do this task. Yeah, and I think that's what you have to do when learning these languages, is just program what you want to program and have the LLM do it, and then look at how they do it and learn from that. So let's go ahead and do our task, which will be to parse this file into a JSON file. So set up the utilities that can be used by any command. So we have two scripts, create page and parse data, that we want to program. And in my data pod that I'm building with this project, we're going to have a lot more. And so all of these scripts should be able to use a common library of tools. And that is what we're going to set up now. And I could have called it tools. I called it utils. And inside there, I have basic categories. Okay, you could put everything in one, but I'm going to have a lot more, so I have a debug category and a files category. What will be in debug will be devlog, so you can just, it's like a fancy console log that prints out some extra data. This is basically an example. And then in the files category or area here, I will have get lines from file, which we need to do. We need to get these lines into an array, or in Go it's called a slice. Go also has arrays, but they're fixed length. Slices are variable length, so a slice in Go is like an array in JavaScript. And we're going to need that. So these utils are what we're going to do. So we want to create this folder in the files, utils, debug, and files. So let's do that. So what do I have here? Okay, let's check that in. Created flashcards text. Just so that we can, I try to do a lot of commits, or anytime I get something finished, do a commit. We could be doing branches as well, but don't really need to if we're the only programmer here. Yeah, so we need our data not, our scripts yes, and inside scripts we have command and utils. So command and utils, and then we have our Go mod. So folder utils. And we're going to have a debug Go. Our debug. So all of these functions will have to do with debugging. And here we are. Let's go ahead and just type this here, package utils. So up here we had, this is package main. This is what you have to begin a Go script. And then debug is going to have package utils, and files will have package utils. So they're all available in utils, but they're separated here so that they're easier to find. The reason I do that is because I'm probably going to have, 20 to 30 functions later, or even more. And so I want to organize them. All right, so I'm basically just copying this. The format we can do later. Let's just do this function first. Function devlog, I called it. Yeah, it's of type, or the variable is line, and it's of type string. So this is basically like TypeScript without the colon. And I want to just print. This is kind of like a C context, or a C syntax. Print F if you've done C. And this is just kind of a way I could do stars as well. Let's just exactly, I think it knew exactly what we were going to do. Yeah, and then line. So what this means is that this percent %s is the variable, and the content of the variable is this actual variable, and it'll be replaced. And if we need to import this, we can just do it with the editor like that, and there we have it. So yeah, and then what I always do is put some documentation here. The reason why I do this is because this information pops up when you're using this command, which is very nice. That's a feature of these editors, basically Visual Studio Code or Trae or Cursor. And I'll show you how that works. So now we have a devlog function, and I'm going to now change this create page command, which I can run here. Run create page. It now prints out this text, and I want to use devlog now instead of this. So let's just make another one here. I say utils, and it just by typing utils, it found utils here. And if I press tab, it picked the first function, and let me just say hello, yeah, as well. And you also see that it imported. This is our namespace that we typed in earlier. That plus utils, so everything is done. That's a very nice way to program. You can just make little functions in your utils or any other group of commands that you want to organize it in, and there you have it. So let me basically, and I'm going to do some Vim magic here, copy or delete inner quote, go here, select inner quote, paste, delete line, and there we have it. And so now when I run this command, it'll use this devlog function, and here we have it. And it didn't work. F format imported and not used. This is a nice feature of Go, I think. I think in like JavaScript, particularly JavaScript, this would have run even if you have this kind of trash lying around that is not used. But Go kind of forces you to be clean and clean it up. I think in TypeScript actually helps you clean things up like that, but Go is just all in out of the box clean. So here we go. Let's run it again. Everything's clean, and we have now our debug function being used. Super. So yeah, I think that shows how easy it is to program in Go. I mean, to set up your packages, you're ready to go. Very nice developer experience. So let's commit this. Created devlog. All right, let's do the next one here. So files, we're going to be basically doing something similar, but this is going to be an actual function. We actually need to read this text file, and let me type it out, and we'll kind of talk about the Go script just for those of you who are. I cannot grab this thing. There must be some better way to do this. Or do I have to grab it down here? Yeah, okay. So just to make it the right size here so we can see our code and type at the same time. We have committed, and so let's go to our parse data main Go, and we're going to redo this. So basically, why does that say package main? Oh yeah, package main, right. Sorry, I'm here. Okay, sorry, I'm completely wrong. I need to go here and say new file and say files go. So not file go, but files go. There we go. And this is also package utils. And what that will allow is while we're programming, we can type in utils dot and all of the functions in utils, whether they are in debug file or files file, will pop up, which is nice. So the way I do things is skip over the imports because they'll be imported automatically, and we'll put this in at the end. So we're just getting down to the meat of our function, and that is the function itself, func, get lines from file. Okay, AI basically knows what we're doing here. We're going to call it file name, and it is a string. kind of TypeScripty. It knows that, yeah, okay, you're probably going to get an array of strings, so kind of TypeScripty here. Another syntax though, but AI will help you out as you learn Go. So isn't that nice? It actually is returning an array, and you have to call these things slices because Go also has arrays which are fixed length, so call them slices. We'll call them slices. This is a slice, but when I say slice, I basically mean array, because a slice is like a JavaScript array, and it's sending this back. Yeah. So yeah, let's just do a reality check, and to prove this, let's, for instance, go to parse data, and we don't want to do this. We want to say lines colon equals. That's a little different. That allows you to simply get something into a variable named lines and define it as at the same time. And then we want to say utils dot, and here we have devlog and get lines. So we want get lines file, perfect. And we're going to just say test.text because yeah, we need to put something in there. And then yeah, let's say format print line lines, perfect. Yeah, let's see if that works. npm run parse data, and we have a slice, line 1, line 2, line 3. So things are working, and we can continue to program. Super. So let's just commit that, returning lines from function, since it worked. Okay, and now what do we want to do though? This gets a little bit more complicated. Let's read through it first. Byte contents, comma, error equals OS, operating system, read file. So if you want to read files from Go, there's one function to do it, and it's called read file, and it's in operating system, which all makes nice sense. And you send it the file name. Super easy here. Yeah, so what does this mean? Basically, read file sends back byte contents of the file that you want, and it will send back an error object. So you can say, and this you see everywhere. If the error is something, if it's not nil, then panic, and that just means to stop execution and print out the error. So very simple. And that's all we need for now, because if there's any error, we don't want to continue on. Yeah, and then of course we don't want bytes, we want a string, so we just say contents and then equals the string of byte contents, all very simple. And then we don't want contents as a big block with new line characters, but we want a slice or an array of all of the lines so that we can go through them and parse them. So we say lines equals split, that's JavaScript, contents, split it on the new line character, super easy. Yeah, so then we have lines. And then we want to, well, we could actually return the lines here, but what I do is I do a for. This is basically a for each in JavaScript, where you have here the index and the line. Yeah, you just have to say equals the range of lines. You just have to get used to the syntax. Takes a couple days. And then we're just saying lines index equals trim it. So just basically trim each line if there's space at the end of the line. And then I send back the trimmed lines. That's all. Yeah, so that's it. So let's do that. Byte contents and the error. So not context, but content. Byte contents and the error. So we're getting two things back. So this is basically like JavaScript, but you just don't need the brackets. OS, and I believe I can press, yeah, it's saying read file now, so tab, yeah, and it imports the OS. That's super nice, a very nice developer experience here. And file name, yep, that's what we want. It knows, and it knows the next 3 lines that we want to do. Thank you very much, Mr. AI. Tab. Right, all of this stuff just means that it's not being used yet. That's all correct. Except for error. What's that problem? Here we don't have this colon equal exactly. So error is okay, byte contents isn't being used yet. Perfect. So, and then we don't want the byte contents, but the string contents. So contents colon equals. So that defines the variable and uses it, string of byte contents exactly. All right, now byte contents is being used, but contents isn't being used, so let's do that as well. Now we want the lines instead of the block, the string block. Strings. Yeah, and we need to import this as well. We only have OS so far, so tab. We get strings here, string split, contents. It knew what we were going to do. Isn't that super? And it's just saying return lines here. We could actually do that. And we would be done, I think. Yeah, we would be done. But we also want to trim each line. There may be a way to do that, actually. But let's go through each one. Just to show the for loop. Yeah, it just basically does everything for you, doesn't it? For I, comma, line equals range of lines. Yeah. It's basically what we want. And yeah, the next thing is also what we want. Lines. So we're going to add each line to, or we're going to change each line to the trim version of that line. Super. And then some semicolon, so that's it. All right. So let's add that. Get lines. Func is finished. And yeah, also note that these are capitalized. That means that they are public. If they're not public, that means that they are private. So what that means is basically this. We are in debug. Debug has a function called devlog. Devlog is capitalized because it's in utils and it is being used. It's in the package utils, but it needs to be used from the package main. So therefore it needs to be capitalized. You could simply make a tools file here and have package main and then do lowercase, and you could use them directly without importing anything, which is very nice. But this just yeah, keeps things more organized, and all of my functions are in their own package called utils, and so they have to be capitalized. So this isn't my choice, but if it's capitalized, it's public. It's kind of a nice convention. All right. Yeah, so we already did this. We used the devlog and that worked. And I show how You can use your editor to have a better developer experience. Ah, yeah, I didn't show you this. The text in the comment section here will show up when you use it in, let's close all this. When you are in here and you say utils and you say devlog, and you say dev, you see here that it explains how to use it, which is very nice once you get more than like 10 functions, or especially if you're in a team, you can give examples of how to use it, and just pragmatic information for your own functions. Very nice. All right, so now let's use the file utility function. That's where we are here, and that would be not in Mango this, but parse data. And we're going to, let me grab this here correctly. You have to grab it in the right spot. Right. Mango lines, get lines from, so we already did this, that's right. Ah, perfect. Yeah, so basically we already have it finished. We could also put a utils devlog there if we wanted. This is going to print out just the slice like this, but let's go ahead and do it to see if it, we're going to get an error because it can't find text .txt. That's why we need to give it our flashcards file. Super. So let's give it our flashcards file. And a Trae doesn't really find files for you. We found that maybe there's a way to get that done. But anyway, what we're doing, this has to be relative 1, 2, 3, and then into data. So yeah, easy enough. And then run it again, and we should get all of the lines of the file, which we do. There they are. They're separated by spaces, so it looks like that. But what we're going to do now is use a for loop and go through it. So for index, that's a number, and the line, we get two things back from our range equals range lines. Yeah. And yeah, that's basically what we want. A little differently, print f, and then we could, let's just do exactly that for now and see what it does. We'll change it later. So this should give us some output. Yeah, perfect. So it starts with 0 and goes to 14. So let's change this up a little bit. So it starts from 1. But yeah, one sees that if you know JavaScript, you can get up to speed with Go pretty fast, I would say. So 1, and then I want this to be 3 characters, so this is all lined up. And basically this stuff you can just, here, let me show you, let me see if, let me do this live here. So let's say we don't know how to do this in Go yet, and we want to make this 001, 002, 00. Let me show you how to do this. So select this, add to chat. It goes into the builder, and then just say print out the index like this, 001. Enter. So AI can take care of that, this kind of stuff for you if you don't know how. I usually keep it on DeepSeek because it will tell me its thoughts, which is very nice. I'll modify the print, you know, so you just kind of, you get into the mind of somebody who knows Go, and it's just a perfect way to learn. So you see that it changed this, %d to %03d. So there you see how to do it. That's perfect. All right. Accept all. Really great. Thank you very much. And run it again. And you see that works. Perfect. Yeah, really a great way to learn. Fantastic. AI for the win. So I'm going to close my AI window there. And yeah, there we have it. So now we have, I think that is the actual step here. Yeah. Because now we're at step 4, program the parse data script to convert the text file flashcards into JSON, which is a bit more in depth, but we'll do that as well. Let me take a break real quick. I'll be right back. Oh, so I'm back. Okay, sorry. Wait, let me check this again. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Getting used to my OBS studio here. So let's see. The next step, I think it's the last step, step 4. Yeah, last step is going to be to program this parse data script to convert the text file of flashcards into JSON. And this will be a little bit more Go. So let's just do it here because it's actually quite straightforward. Basically, let's get an overview here. We have right now a parse data main, and it uses a get lines from file. Okay. So what we're going to have to make is one thing that we need is a short UUID generator. And let me show you what that is. Here we have our simple flashcards, but we want them like this. And this is actually a data pod thing that every item, okay, data pod is my framework that I'm building, which enables you to very quickly make items. But of course, every item needs to have an ID. And I don't want to have IDs starting at 1, 2, 3 because then you add a couple and you'll have to, you know, if you have 2 collections of items that each collection of items has IDs and you merge them together and both of them start at 1, 2, 3, then you have this conflict, right? So they each have to have a unique ID. So of course you would use UUID, which is this huge long 25 character, I think, string, which is too long for, you know, simple purposes. So I basically made something called a short UUID. I think it's just my term. And that's just basically 6 characters, random, that are uppercase, lowercase, or a number. And the reason is that basically, I don't know how many, I think it's in the trillions, you know, so it's 1 in a trillion or so, that by making a random ID, I mean, you will hardly ever have 2 IDs that are the same. But they're only 6 characters, so you can even you know, you can very easily copy and paste them. You can even, you know, type them out as well. So I find them very pragmatic. But because we're using these, we need to be able to create them. So like this function here, yeah, I asked my friendly AI DeepSeek here in Trae to create this, and it did it. So I think that's kind of a strategy, like with learning languages now in the age of AI, that as long as you keep things in functions, and especially if you have testing, you can just have AI create your functions. Any way it does it is just fine. As long as it passes all the tests, then it's just fine. And you can, yeah, do your happy vibe coding pretty quickly and still have stable software, right? So this is just an example. I had AI create this. Let's just go through it and then I'll copy and paste it. General short UUID, okay, it returns a string. This is the base characters that it can use. It'll always be 6. That's just the way I have it. You could pass this in as well. And then it gets the bytes from, I'm not even sure what that is. Bytes make byte length 1 in length. Okay, where does it use bytes here? Oh, okay, this is just the array or the slice that it adds to as it goes through. So basically it just sets this up as a container, and then we're going through for 1 to the length, which is 6, and it's going to create, it's using the random generator. And again, in Go, there's one way to do random numbers. Here it is, random reader, big int, uses the character set, and it gets one of these and adds it as a byte. And later we're going to convert these bytes to a string. That's all that's going on here. If there's any kind of error, panic and stop everything. And then yeah, here we're just adding the random character here to the byte slice, and then we return a string of the bytes. That's it. So basically you just get your UUID. Yeah. That's what we need. And I'm putting this in general Go, but in package utils, because it doesn't really have to do with files. It doesn't have to do with debug. So that's where I'm going to put it. But you can see that you can organize things very nicely here. This is a file. I'll call it general Go. Voila. And there it is. Utils, and these are the imports that it needs. Super. Then let's completely rewrite the parse data. So let's actually, yeah, I'll go through this as well, and then we'll put it together. So this is going to be parse data main Go, so we're going to replace what we have here or add to it. Yeah, so we already get the lines here. And yeah, so the imports will all come automatically. So let me put this over here actually. Yeah. And this can go here, and then we can, I think Trae has a nice way to just make that disappear. Super. Yeah, and so package main import. Yeah. Interesting. This has github.com and this doesn't. Interesting. But okay, this is our struct, and this defines these objects. And notice that it has this backtick JSON. This is important if you're converting it to JSON. This is just the way to do to export these structs or objects into JSON in Go. And note that this struct has these fields with capital names, and then you give the JSON name here. That's just how to do it. So we'll do it that way. And That's going to go here. Note the syntax, backtick, JSON, and then in the double quotes. And they're all strings. Super. So then we have our main. We have here this will tell the user that things are going here, parsing the flashcard section so it knows what it's doing, the user. And then we have the lines. We get the lines from the flashcard text file. Super. And then here we go through them, and we're basically going to do the same thing, but first we're going to create a variable, and we use var. Don't worry, var isn't the same as in JavaScript. This just means that we're defining a variable called flashcards, and it is of type flashcard slice. So a slice of these things, a slice of these struct objects, or instances of struct. They're not really objects, but you can call them objects. Yeah, and note that when you define variables elsewhere, it's a colon equals, and that actually does a var at the same time. That's what the colon is, shorthand. All right, and then we have the for I. Okay, actually, we're doing something different here. We're going to get rid of this because this is just a little programming thing. That what we're going to do is we're going to go through one. We're going to go through where I is 0, and then I is 5. So I is 0, this line, and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, plus equals 4. It's going to be 0, and then it's going to be 4. Yeah, so 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then plus 4, 8. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then plus 4 is 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's going to be this line, and then this line, and then this line, and then this line. So it's assuming that we have 3 lines for each flashcard, and it's going to go to the first line, and then it's going to just read these in. So lines E, and then for I, lines I plus 1, I plus 2. So I plus 1, I plus 2. And that's how we get each one. And then we're just going to pack them into the struct. And yeah. So basically, let's just copy this here, because I think we see what that does. Yeah, we define the empty container, and then here, boy, is that nice. It just, you paste something in and it just imports everything for you. It's so automatic. Very nice. Yeah, this is just saying it's not being used. That's right. Right, so category is what's on that current line, front is what's on the next line, back is what's on the next line, and it's all trim spaced, trimmed. And then this is basically like a push in JavaScript, flashcards, which is this here, append flashcards with as type flashcard. Yeah. And with the contents, and that is this here. I mean, I think that's quite clear. This here is utils generate short UUID, so we get what comes out of the function that we created. Yeah, there we have it. All of these capital, yeah, in general, Go capitals have meaning, so make sure you look for that. So yeah, after we get done here, we have a slice of flashcards that we want to turn into a JSON file. Super. So what do we do here? Let's just copy this, and then we'll talk about it. So here we have JSON data, or this Marshall indent, that's for changing slice of objects into JSON file or into JSON format. We send in the flashcards. We want it to have a tab separator in it. If there's any kind of error, then print it out. That's all that's saying. And so usually error will be nil. It'll pass through here and we'll just have our JSON data. So what are we going to do with the JSON data? We're going to do this. With the JSON data, we're going to write it to a file. And so we say OS write file to this file, send in the JSON data, and 0644 is, I believe, the the Linux file properties for access. Yeah, and it just writes the file. If there's any kind of error, it'll be here. Otherwise, it'll be nil and it'll pass through. If there is an error, it'll write it out, and there you have it. You have the file. And if it gets to this point, then it's successful. Otherwise, it would have printed out the error. And so that's it. We did it. And it should work. All right, so let's expand this, bring this out. I think I can just grab this. Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, it's nice UX. And we have no errors that I see, so I'm going to just say basically finished. I think that's it. But we're going to test it. So let's go ahead and look at, this is flashcards JSON. This has the old Git flashcards. It's going to be replaced by the Italian and Spanish flashcards when we run this. So parse data, npm run parse data, we'll change this and we'll hit enter. And it says error writing JSON file because the system cannot find it. That's because I did it a little differently and I had it in a directory called data.json. So let's change that real quick. Mango. We're writing it to not to data. Exactly. Okay, so let's go back here. So these are still the Git flashcards, and let's run it again. Now it should find this file and overwrite it. There we go. Super. And if we look at the, and this is kind of the magical part here, if we look at the site, it's already changed because it just updates when the JSON updates. So that means if we go to our little thing here and we write, okay, a German flashcard, we are finished. Wir sind fertig. And we run our script again, we should get a new flashcard. Yeah. So there you have an example of, yeah, kind of how powerful scripting can be. You can imagine you can write all kinds of CLI commands to do all kinds of things, to create pages and components and that kind of thing. That's basically, I mean, we're finished with this workshop here. That was it. If we look here, we see that ours works just like this, and we're just on the next steps here. That's what I was going to say. Then the next steps are basically, here, let me, works. Check this in. The next steps for me on this is, yeah, to make the create page, and you can imagine for that, that's going to be a bit more involved. That's going to take I'll basically pass the name of a page as a script. You can there's a way to do that where you get arguments in your Go file. Again, ask your friendly LLM how to do it. You get an argument in. Let's say you type in npm run cp and then space and then you know, about to create an, okay, we already have an about page, but let's say products, and it takes products, and then what it'd have to do is do three things basically. I think it would have to create this page. You know, it would have to look like this. It would have to be called page products, and this is the products page, you know, so you would have to take care of all of that. You know, so it gets kind of involved, but that's basically what my Datapod framework is it makes these kinds of things easier, and I'm going to make a number of utilities to make this all much easier, you know, but once that gets set up, you can make all kinds of commands and make a very useful framework that is very specific to your needs. Yeah, so it would create a page here, and then it would have to like go into here and add an entry here, 4 lines, you know, so you would have to have some way to find where it has to insert the lines, that kind of thing. And then I think in components, header, nav, it needs to go here and then add that page there, you know, but there's 3 little changes that it has to make. It has to make changes in 2 files. It has to create a file, you know, but that can be done quite easily. And then you can, bam, create a page, or then you can, you know, make it an easy way to create multiple pages, or, you know, all kinds of things. Yeah, so that's basically how to set up Go, how to get things going in a little React site with the CLI. So I hope that worked for you. If not, write in the comments or ask your local AI. And yeah, that's all for now.